Hey, good morning. My name is Laura Roehrick. I am the foot care nurse that you've seen in a couple other YouTubes that I've posted, and I thought I'd drive you crazy by filming and making you dizzy while I'm driving in my car. And probably this isn't a good idea, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I thought I would introduce myself, and then later I will introduce you to Deanne, my assistant with the shaky hands. But I thought it'd be nice if you knew who we are and what we're really trying to do here. I am a registered nurse. I'm certified in foot care. I have been doing foot care for 24 years. I'm the first nurse in California to have an independent practice as a foot care nurse, where I had my own little office. I do office visits, home visits, clinic visits, etc. And at that time, there were no foot nurses. There just weren't. There was one other lovely lady in Florida who was trained in Europe, and Nurse Noonan, and Gudrun Noonan. So she was the only other nurse that I knew of at that time. This is back in 1994. So I got into foot care nursing because I was hired in my job. I just kind of fell into this position that turned out to be diabetic foot care 12 hours a week at Kaiser Richmond, actually, in California. So I thought, what the heck? First of all, I didn't even know that nurses could cut toenails, because we were told we couldn't. We were told in nursing school, as is almost every nurse in the United States, that we do not do toenails. It's either the family or the podiatrist. Well, guess what? That is totally not true. They just don't teach it because at that point it wasn't necessary. We're going back to 1972 to 74, folks. So because there was podiatrists who had Medicare, and everybody had a podiatrist, and everybody got routine foot care, and then that quickly changed in around 1994-95. They quit covering routine foot care, and you had to have very high risk feet. So that's why I was hired to do the feet in the foot department at Kaiser. So at that time, there was no training either. There was one nurse back east, Teresa Kelachai, who is my friend, my board member, my mentor, my buddy. I reached out to her for some guidance because she had written some articles, and she was doing a few courses for some home care nurses. So that's how I met her. She was so kind and helped me all she could, and I ended up going back to South Carolina, trained with her, came back, quit my job at Kaiser. I found out that nurses in Canada had their own businesses, and I called the state board, found out that I too could have my own foot care business as long as I didn't diagnose, prescribe, or perform surgery. So I did just that. I had no clue how to start a business. I just learned by going and doing. Like, I went to the bank and I said, okay, I need a business account. They go, no, you can't do that. You have to have a fictitious business name or a business license. So then I went and got the business license. Then I went to the zoning place, and then I came back to the bank, and then I had to get a seller's permit. And so that's how I learned. I just went out there and did it because I was so passionate about trying to mostly work with diabetics, because 85% of amputations are totally preventable with the kind of work I was doing. Now, at that point, I was not using a file of any sort. I just had learned about the Dremel, and I did eventually get the Dremel, and I used that, I am embarrassed to say, for 8 years, period. So know this about me. I'm pretty easygoing, flexible person, but when it comes to the Dremel and professional people, podiatrists and nurses, using Dremel grinders on people's feet in this country, in this day and age, there is no room for understanding on my part. I just don't get it. I think it's the most unprofessional, horrible well, if you're in Africa and that's all you've got, it's fine. There's no excuse in this country. Go get a charge card, buy a couple $100 little file, do something. It's going to be better for you, better for the patient. The Dremel is very big and bulky, and it gives you carpal tunnel. It only goes 10,000, maybe some of them do 15,000, tons of vibrations, very uncomfortable for the patient. You can't maneuver the way that I maneuver. Okay, I'm going to stop now because I'm at my office, and we'll continue this when I get in. But okay, part 1 over.